Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona. The big one is out. Good evening, race fan. Welcome back to the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series every Tuesday night, sponsored by Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Tonight we're at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, where we're going to go another 1 hour race around the 1.25 mile raceway. As always, we're Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bring the action 1080p, 60 frames per second. My name is James East. I'm accompanied by the world famous Australian Gareth McAllister and the Queen's finest Finley Fitzsimmons, making our way out, bringing the A-team out for tonight's action. Finley, first time calling the action at the Next Gen Cup Series. What do you think is going to happen at such a unique racetrack we're coming to tonight?
A very unique racetrack, some very unique racing as well. It's different to a lot of the super speedways, and I think we'll definitely see. No, it's definitely a challenge for these drivers compared to what they usually used to.
Now, Gareth, I know you're making your way out. I don't know if you've actually ran the Next Gen Cup cars at Worldwide Technology, but I believe all of us have a little bit of experience driving them in sim. How do you think the new update may affect these drivers? Do you think that the rear end getting a little bit loose is going to lead to more exciting raceway, or do you think drivers are going to be able to figure it out pretty quickly here tonight?
I think these guys are all talented drivers. I think they'll be able to figure it out pretty quickly. But like you said, the new update certainly shakes things up a little bit. However, I think they'll be able to tame it pretty quickly, and we can get this thing rolling. Pretty nice green flag run for a long haul.
I tend to agree with you. Not a crazy packed field tonight. 12 drivers making their way out. A lot of the same names and faces we've seen throughout the season. I'm going to keep an eye on Jared Reed, and maybe it's going to be Nick Leo in the top spot again. Leo trying to get ready to go out for qualifying as we get ready to throw up that live timing tower on the left side of your screen. But, I mean, Garrett, do you have a odds-on favorite you're going to be running here tonight, or maybe betting on?
Uh, I think I'm gonna be betting on Stephen Gibson. I have high hopes for him. I reckon he's gonna do very well this race.
Now, Finley, I mean, it's your first time out here. Any of these drivers you've looked at, maybe looked at their stats and feeling pretty good about it? You want to take a blind look and see who you may be choosing?
It's definitely some high ratings in this session. Predominantly Jared Reed with 3.7k. He's definitely looking like the man to beat at the moment.
Yeah, Jared Reed, I believe he just got his first win not too long ago. Right now, he clicks off a 35.42. That's good enough for fourth as we watch Wayne Grennan put on the top spot with a 35-second flat. Steven Gibson ends his qualifying time. I'm a little intrigued here. Looks like the drivers are going for one fast lap and not doing the normal two. Do you think drivers are maybe throwing away with a little bit of impact in the wall, or do you think maybe that the one lapper is the way to go here?
Not quite sure. I think they're maybe just trying to get the momentum up high, or just using that first lap just to make sure they get the right momentum and get the fastest lap possible for the second run. But I think that's definitely
Yeah, I mean, right as you say that, Jared Reed, Logan Butler, they end up qualifying first and second. One of the first pair of drivers that put down a second timed lap that was able to improve. I mean, let's see what Carter Lenz does. He's out on track number 4 machine, and it looks like he's going to go for his second lap as well. We're going to try to get the camera focused on Lenz and that number 4 Chevrolet as he makes his way around the track. His opening lap, a 34.91. 0.06 of a second off of Jared Reed and Logan Butler's. Right now, first and second look to be tied, and I think Lenz is going to throw away his qualifying run right there as we watch the back end step out heavily in that number 4. And look at this, there goes Robert Mathis, a 34.74 for his best timed lap.
Yeah, definitely a shocker from him. 1/10 quicker than our current second place at Jared Reed. Absolutely brilliant lap from him in that number 29. Definitely looking to be a force to beat, definitely in this race.
Now, as we watch Robert Mathis Jr., he steps the back end out of turns, I believe it was turn 2. I think that may be signifying these drivers are going to have their hands full tonight. It's not quite normal. We see a large portion of the field only put down one qualifying lap. We've only got 2 drivers still out on track. Jake Finoski, Nick Leo ends his qualifying run, as it looks like Mark Cusano is going to be a late run as well out of pit road. But yeah, this is intriguing. This is the first time I think I've seen this season where drivers are struggling to put down 2 timed laps.
I think it's definitely. No, go on.
I think it could have something to do with the interesting shape of the course itself. So you've got one very sweeping, long-handed corner, and then the next one is quite tight. So it's certainly an interesting track, and if you haven't practiced a whole lot, it'd be quite difficult to get a handle on it. But yeah, I think we'll see some good racing either way, and it is amazing the lap time that Mathis has been able to put down so far.
Right now, I think we just got to wait to see what Cusano is going to do in that 44 Ford Mustang. He's the only driver that has not put down a timed lap at all. Nick Leo's out on track. He's going to try and put down a fast time on his second lap. But right now, all eyes on both Nick Leo and Mark Cusano to see what they can do. Only about 20 seconds left in qualifying here. So if either driver's, oh, and around goes Leo. The Joule 69 machine tagging inside, outside wall, so he will invalidate both of his laps. As we pan the camera to Cusano, doesn't look like he's got too much damage, if any. And yes, he will put down one time here, a 35-second flat. Still a quarter of a second off of the leaders, but at this point, at least it's a time as we get ready to roll right into the main event tonight.
Yeah, they're under lights here. And starting on pole, we have Robert Mathis Jr. Second, Jake Vainoski. Third, Jared Reed. Fourth, Logan Butler. Fifth, Carter Linz. Sixth, Garrett Hall. Seventh, Wayne Grenon. Eighth, Mark Cusano. Ninth, Stephen Gibson. 10th, rounding out the top 10 is Leaf Smith.
Then we've got Nick Leo. He'll be starting 11th in the 69 machine after not a great showing in qualifying, and Butch Taylor will round out the field on the number 33 machine. He'll be starting 12th. So again, relatively small field here tonight at Worldwide Technology, but if what we've seen in the past still holds true, we've got a lot of great racing ahead of us as we get our field and grid set for tonight's main event. We're going 80 laps here, roughly an hour scheduled of racing, and I still think it's going to be anybody's guess as we wait for Robert Mathis Jr. to join here on the grid.
Just wait for our drivers to grid up now. It's going to be an absolutely brilliant one. I'm very intrigued to see, because obviously we saw the drivers kicking out their rear ends during qualifying. Maybe that's just a cold tyre thing, or maybe with those worn tyres, we'll have to wait and see if the cars get more loose as the stint goes on, or more tight. But it's definitely going to throw out some chances his drivers may not have faced at some other tracks.
Now, Gareth, if you were a betting man, and I think you are, how long do you think we're going to go tonight before we have our first caution flag flying?
I have a lot of faith in the drivers tonight. I actually think that we may only see one or two cautions at most. I reckon we'll have probably about a good 20 lap run before we have our first caution as the tires start getting a bit heated up and the car's getting a bit looser throughout the run. I think someone's going to unfortunately fling it around, but I don't think we'll have any major accidents. That's what I'm going to put on my bet for tonight.
Now, I'm going to be really intrigued to see how Nick Leo in the 69 machine does tonight. He's starting 11th in that Chevrolet, and he's the only driver so far with 3 wins to his name this season. He's only 4 points ahead of Dominic DeLeo and 16 points ahead of Jared Reed. So right now, Reed starting 3rd in the number 5 Ford Mustang. He's looking in a very good spot to try and take away that points lead as Dominic DeLeo does not make his way out here tonight.
Yeah, definitely one of our championship leaders, one of the forces to beat in this series, not absent. Obviously, so early on in the season. Like, points are definitely to be lost here. I think it's definitely going to hurt his championship hopes. However, that does help Jared Reed, but also our other Nick Leo as well, the other championship contenders, is definitely going to help them out and maybe catch up to that gap or extend that gap to the points they have to the cars ahead or behind.
As we get ready for the pace car to come in this time by, it's Mathis Jr. and Vanoski on the front row. Reed and Butler, your second row. Linz and Hall, your third row. Pace car is in, and here we go to open up the 80 laps here at Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series as we watch Mathis and Vanoski send it in deep into turn 1 to start this party off strong.
Mathis getting a very good jump there on the start, had a very good run into that very tight left-hand corner, as we've got already drivers kind of getting a little bit ahead of, a little bit far away from everyone else, already putting a second up to the 6th place, or even the 5th place spot now. So Robert Mathis already starting his domination early on in this race.
No, certainly, you can see those gaps between the drivers. Not being a super speedway, the draft doesn't matter as much. The way these drivers take these corners and how much tyres they want to save is going to dictate those gaps and how good the drivers can hold on to their lines, and not who can stay in the draft the longest. You can see some drivers hitting the wall on the outside there of turn 2. Not sure if there's issues with some cold tyres or side-to-side racing. However, We see Robert Mathis Jr. in that number 29 car, stretching that lead. This looks like we've got the breakaway pack of the top three of Jake Vinosky and Jared Reed following that second and third spot. I think these guys are definitely the guys to watch the at least the first half of this race for sure.
Yeah, that was Steven Gibson, I believe, in number 53 Chevrolet. You may have tagged that outside wall. He's about 1 second behind the top three here of Mathis, Vinosky, Reed, who you're right, have that breakaway. Reed right on the back bumper of Vinosky. He's going to try and not let Vinosky get too far away as here we go. Reed gets set up for the inside pass, and that bright red Ford Mustang sporting the white number 5, and he looks to the inside of Vinosky. Is he going to get clear here? Yes, he is. And Jared Reed takes over second place as Vinosky gets dangerously close to that outside wall coming out of turn 4.
See, there's battling going on right at the beginning of the race. I definitely got to think about their tyre wear. Maybe if they battle a little bit too much, they just got to watch it a little bit. Maybe if they chew up those tyres a little bit too much, that can definitely hurt the strategy game. But also, if they overheat their tyres because they're over pushing them, that could also definitely not help them, let's say, in the long haul with definitely how hard the car is to drive, because especially on those hotter rear tyres, especially as you heat them up, it starts to get a little bit looser. The car just wants to kick out. Doesn't quite have the grip you want, and obviously the more you're sliding, the more tire temperature you're going to gain, and the less time those tyres are going to last. So these drivers are definitely going to think about keeping it a little bit conservative, at least at the beginning of the race, just to make sure they don't fight too much and make sure they're not burning up those tyres earlier than they want.
Now, Gareth, do you think Steven Gibson, the number 53 machine, maybe that's his plan here to hang back after he had that big moment and almost tag the outside wall? He may be trying to play a little bit safe here as we watched him getting chased by Garrett Hall. Then they have about a 1 point, let's call it a 1 1/4 second gap to Wayne Grennan. So, I mean, that's the question, Gareth. Do you think Gibson may be playing it safe here and thinking with a long run in his mind?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's really going to play it safe because, as you said, he got close to that outside wall early on and probably lost a fair bit of time on that. So, as we see, Garrett Hall behind him doing pretty much the same thing. So, yeah, I think these drivers a little bit further back are going to play a bit more of a tyre strategy game. You know, it is interesting, though. We haven't seen many people run on the high side, and I'm wondering if that's got anything to do with the fact that there's not a whole lot of banking here at this raceway. It might play into tyre wear as well, actually. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I think this is one of those tracks that it's not quite the cookie cutter, the 1.5 miles we've ran in the past. It's not quite a short track. It's very different from turns 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. And I have not raced here yet in the Next Gen Cup cars, but I've raced here in other vehicles on the iRacing service, and definitely takes a little bit getting used to. Thankfully, these drivers are all in the same setup tonight, as it looked like Wayne Grennan was going to take another shot at Garrett Hall, but no such luck as Hall holds about a 3.5 advantage over the number 28 machine. And the field getting relatively stretched out. The closest battle on track, I believe, right now is going to be between Vinosky and Reed. Reed has worked that number 5 machine all the way back up front. As we pan to Vinosky, it looks like right now, Vinosky going in a little bit deeper in the corners, able to gain almost 0.2 of a second on Jared Reed. But Reed, we know, is very good on tire saving. So if this continues to go green, as I believe, yeah, we're already at lap 9 under green flag conditions, you may see that number 5 Ford Mustang start to stretch its legs.
Yeah, it is interesting. Already you can see my pick for the day. I hate to gloat, but Steven Gibson up 5 spots since he started, making his way quite neatly through the field already up into that 4th spot. As we continue to watch this battle up in the front of the grid, it's looking very, very racy, very, very quick. The lap times these guys are putting down are very quick. In the 35-second mark, every single driver in the 35-second marks. The best laps, 34.6 for Jared Reed out in front. So the pace has slowed down a little bit as the tyres have worn up, but not a whole lot. They're still maintaining very quick pace throughout this run.
Yeah, not quite a second off their fastest laps of the race, so I don't think the tire wear rearing its ugly head quite just yet. As we pan back to Nick Leo, he's got all sorts of company from Garrett Hall, the number 13 machine. As the more you see these two drivers battle for 5th, That's going to allow the likes of Wayne Grin and Carter Lenz up into the mix as well. And I think very quickly you're going to see a 5-car battle here, a 4-car battle for the 5th place spot.
Yeah, however, though, Nick Lear, one of our championship leaders, or one of the championship contenders even in the 69 Chevrolet, he's up his way up to 6 spots, so he's currently our highest climber in today's race at Gateway. He's definitely doing a great job of coming back from the back of the grid and making as much of what he can and maybe catch up to those leaders. He isn't that far away. The gap's only a second or two to the leaders, or the top 3 at least. He makes a move down the inside of Stephen Gibson in the 53 Chevrolet as well. They're going to be going side by side into turn 1. However, it looks like Nick Leo is able to hold that spot, and now he's up 7 spots into that P4. However, they're still side by side. It may not last long.
Yeah, it looked like Nick Leo got a little bit loose there coming off the exit of that corner, so still trying to get on the inside line. Gibson holding the high line very well, holding him down onto the apex there, not allowing him to get the runoff required to make the pass up on the high side.
Yeah, Leo's in a tough spot right now. Gibson keeping him pinned down that inside groove. That means Leo can throw it in a little bit harder, but I think Gibson's going to be saving more tires here, so he may be forcing number 69 of Nick Leo, who does finally make the overtake, moving up 7 spots into 4th, but how much tire wear did he prematurely use here, as this is looking like it may be a green flag race. Now, Butch Taylor did have a slight off-track excursion in the 33 machine, but we're keeping it clean and green so far, as now we've also got a battle for 7th, as it looks like Lenz has overtaken Wayne Grennan. Grennan looks like he's starting to get very tight here. That last time by, Lenz 0.9 of a second faster in the all-black number 4 machine, so I think we are at the point of the race, gentlemen, where tire wear is starting to play a factor for these drivers.
Yeah, definitely the drivers who look after their tyres a little bit better and be a bit more conservative at the beginning of the race are definitely going to be in favour to start making up positions. As Nick Leo, I think, after all the drivers start to burn up their tyres, he's making his way through. As we said before, he's up 7 spots. Also, some of the drivers like Linz as well, he's done a great job of conserving his tyres so far. He's starting to make his way up now. You can see they're going a little bit wide into turn 2 there, nearly getting into the wall. Managed to keep it out, so a good job by him, but that's just losing time ahead to Gareth Hall and number 13 Ford. Not what he wants when he wants to be chasing down and getting those positions back. However, he looks to be doing an alright, pretty good job.
Yeah, I think
Not burning up those tyres too much, he's keeping it nice and tight, not trying to kick out that rear end. I think he's doing a good job so far. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out later on in the race.
I certainly think tire wear is starting to slowly creep into this race, as we saw Linz getting very close to the outside wall there, and Mathis as well has dropped from the number 1 spot quite rapidly actually. He's still in 3rd place, still able to hold it there, but it seemed like he definitely has got the pace that he used to have. They've started going about a second and a half slower per lap, so those tires definitely not feeling as good as they were about 16 laps ago.
Yeah, 2 battles shaking up on track. That's Garrett Hall and Carter Lenz battling for 6th. And then you've got, look at this, gentlemen. Nick Leo has moved that 69 machine all the way up to 3rd, getting around Robert Mathis Jr. So the number 69 machine is on fire here in the Jewel. Right now, he's about 0.3 back from Vinoski. Your race leader, Jared Reed, 2 seconds ahead of these 2 cars. I think Leo may have something figured out here, but I think the age-old question is he going to burn up too much tires over the course of this long run? As you already see, Leo, he's about 0.2 slower than Jared Reed, your race leader, that time buys. As it updates, I stand corrected. 0.3 faster than Jared Reed. So I think tonight, gentlemen, it's going to be very quickly shaping up to both a fuel mileage race as well as a tire management race.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, with Nick Leo, he's doing a lot of fighting, putting a lot of stress on that right front tyre. Maybe it's alright for now, but maybe it'll start to reflect later on in the stints. He starts to fall off. Now he's looking alright, but maybe in 10 or so laps, it may not be the same story.
We have something
As you can see there, going
there.
down the inside of Jake Vinoski, taking that number 2 spot. However, he's still on the inside. Will Jake Vinoski try and make a move back? No, he slits him behind. That's Nick Leo up to the number 2 spot, up 9 positions now. from the number 11 spot that he started in. Absolutely brilliant job from him so far, but as we said before, we don't know if he's burning up his tyres a little bit too much, trying to get up the field a bit too quickly, putting stress on that right front tyre and cutting the tyre mileage that he will have. I'm very intrigued to see how this will turn out, whether the fuel or the tyres will be the limiting factor. What do you think, James?
This is going to be interesting to see. Leo last time by was about 4/10 faster than Vinoski, so also 4/10 faster than your race leader, Jared Reed. So we are definitely at the point where the tire wear really starting to plateau for these drivers. Expect to see them clicking off low 36-second lap times the next 4 or 5 laps, and before you really see the time start to fall off. Now, these drivers do have an 80% fuel allotment, so they can only run 80% of a full fuel tank out here at Worldwide Technology, but we do have an off track with Logan Butler trying to hold on to it. Looks like he will do so, no caution, but unlimited tires here tonight. So if you see a caution come out, I think tonight if the drivers have more than 15 laps on a run, I would pretty much expect everybody to come down pit road and take tires. What do you think, Gareth?
Yeah, I would not doubt that for a second. I definitely think that tires will be a mainstay for this race. I'm almost considering saying that they're going to have 2 different times they're going to come down for tires. These tires seem to be wearing out very quickly throughout this race, so I think that they're going to try and split it quite evenly throughout the race, and I would definitely say so. I think they should be able to be good for 1 fuel stop, but they may want to come in a second time, if nothing else, for just tires only, because these tires are falling off very quickly.
Yeah, especially when there's a caution as well. I'm definitely seeing that tyres will be a no-brainer. And maybe we're going to see some more of the road strategy coming in, or maybe a pit to get those quicker tyres, because you lose so much being on those older tyres. Would it be a better advantage to then pit right behind, then get the fresher tyres, and then use that to catch the gap back up? Because the fresh tyre advantage, I think, will be quite a factor playing into this race if tyres, or if drivers, excuse me, do an alternate strategy to the drivers around them.
Yeah, Logan Butler in the 99 Ford Mustang. He went for a bit of an undercut coming in on lap 20. Looks like he took 4 fresh tires and a tank of gas. So it's going to be a long night for these drivers if they're taking tires every 15 laps. But keep an eye on Reed, Leo, and Vinoski, 3 very experienced veterans here at the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series. I have a feeling those guys have been doing the math, and they're deciding, you know what, let's stay out as long as we possibly can. Try and keep that lap time under 36 seconds and see how long we can stretch it, because right now, after that pit stop, Butler's put himself about 2 laps down. He's going to have to be much, much faster than the field in front of him if he's going to try and make another run at it before coming down around lap 30, if he stays on the same strategy.
Yeah, I think these drivers at the front are definitely going to try and push these tyres as long as they can, because that's the fresher tyres you can have at the end. Because if you pit early now, you're just going to have worse tyres near to the end, and the drivers with the fresher tyres will have the advantage over you. You may have track position, but they'll be way faster, so it may just be a matter of time. So these drivers definitely trying to stretch it out as long as they can, so try not to compromise their race at the end.
We're going to try and get live timing updated for our fans at home. Right now it's Jared Reed, Nick Leo, Jake Vinoski, Steven Gibson, and Robert Mathis Jr. rounding out the top 5. We're going to try and get that corrected real quickly. Not sure why the results aren't pulling up on our live timing tower, but, well, it looks like it is on the broadcast, so maybe it's just on my end here in the booth, but that's great news. So excellent. Glad things are working well there, as it looks like Wayne Grennan, the number 28 machine, trying to make a move on Marcusano. And also simultaneously, no, that's going to be Garrett Hall, Marcusano, Wayne Grennan, about to be in a 3-way battle for 7th.
Yeah, this 3-car battle is looking very racy indeed. Oh, and he's lost it. No. The 44 Dorito-sponsored car of Marcusano, unfortunately tagging the wall on the outside there. May be able to keep the spot, though, from Butch Taylor. It'd be very interesting. It's getting close. Oh, that's Grennon. Excuse me. Wayne Grennon. Still on the inside line. Looks like Cusano is going to be able to hold that car just out in front, but still quite the battle going on, actually.
Yeah, definitely. They're still going side by side into turn 2. It's almost been a lap now. You You can obviously see on the high line, though, Cassano is able to get that exit. But then we have Grennan just taking that inside line, getting right up alongside him again. If it's a case of maybe Grennan trying to get up in the inside and then try and block off Cassano to try and block that run, that could be the opportunity for him to pass. But I think now Cassano has definitely been able to stretch that gap, as he's now having a go at Garrett Hall, maybe down the inside into turn 1. No, he doesn't choose to stick behind, thinks better of it this time around. We can see now that Grennan is starting to become a factor again. He's just creeping there, just sitting behind. Because if these guys continue the battle, Grennan's going to be right back in the mix again.
Yeah, interesting. That's the good thing about the Tuesday night league. Doesn't matter where you're out on track, and even with a smaller field of 12 drivers tonight, a lot of guys out of town or on vacation. Still great racing all across the circuit, as here comes Grennan once more, trying to catch up to Cassano. This is a tough spot for these drivers to be in. They're pretty far into the run, almost 30 laps so far, and now it's a game of who can dive the deepest and make those passes happen. As is yes, that's Cassano. Locks up the brakes, gets tagged by Grennan, and that will bring out the first caution of the night.
I think we've got a little bit further than I would have thought to begin with. 29 laps we've gone before the first caution. Not too bad from these drivers. However, though, I think that front of Wayne Grennan there, I think it is, his front bumper's completely gone. That's going to be long repairs for him. Actually, I just remembered drivers in these series do have one fast repair, so it looks like Grennan has been saved.
Yeah, over the driver radio, we heard Wayne Grennan apologizing to Cassano, saying, hey, didn't mean to drive it in there that deep. I tried to stay out of you, and a couple no worries spread amongst the teammates, but you're right. Grennan with the next-gen Tour Modified, number 28 as it stands, he'll be diving down pit road and try and take that fast repair, but that means he's going to have to be very careful with 50 laps left to go in tonight's main event.
Yeah, I think some of these drivers, I'm not sure if they'll come down pit road now and take this opportunity. But if they don't, that means Grennan will be on that alternate strategy. That may turn out quite good for him, but it also may be the a thing that brings him down near the end of the race, because he'll have his older tyres, unless he's able to stretch out that middle stint. So definitely.
Looks like everybody's coming down pit road. Everybody inside the top 9 as you watch Grennan, the 10th driver, come down pit road. So I think it's going to reset the field here. And as we've seen in the past, either in the Next Gen Cup Series or other leagues we broadcast, cautions breed cautions. So now you're going to have 12 drivers who have been used to running on a very tight setup suddenly going out on track and with a car that may be more snap loose. So I think if you're going to see a second caution night or plan on it, I think it may be on this restart as we get the field stacked back up.
Yeah, it'll be really good to see as we see the drivers start to come out off of pit road. It'll be really interesting to see how they handle this next caution next time they go to green. I assume that we're going to have some I'm thinking we're going to have another clean start. But as you said, cautions do breed cautions typically, James. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle this as, yeah.
You can see both the drivers with 15 to 14 second stops. That means they have taken both tyres. They've taken all 4 sets of tyres and a full tank of gas. These drivers are definitely using this as an opportunity for their pit stop. However, we are less than halfway through, so it may mean we have another pit stop later on in this race. Try and make it to the end if there is no cautions left. Or cautions near to the end of the race once again.
Yeah, Griffin, it's going to be interesting. I mean, we've seen the drivers can stretch it out 30 laps on fuel. I don't think anybody was really setting a stage to come down pit road early, so I mean, at the earliest, you may see drivers coming in around lap 60 if we continue this current theme. But I'm very curious. Can we see anybody stretch out the remaining 47 laps or so on this restart? And how unbearable is the car going to be to drive at that point for these guys? As we still have, I believe, 11 drivers on the lead lap. It may be 12 if Butler can get back out on track quick enough. So I still don't know what we're going to see here.
Yeah, it's definitely the tie game here. Obviously, the fuel, we're not quite sure, but we think maybe we may get another pit stop around about lap 60. But that could also, or drivers could also use it as a tyre limited strategy and maybe pit for tyres instead of gas to maybe try and get those fresher tyres for longer. Of course, pitting early would mean you have less tyres near to the end of the race, but it would mean you have that track position. And at this track, it is looking or you could defend. You know, track position is always king usually, and yeah, track position is usually better than being faster most of the time.
Now, not to interrupt Gareth on this restart, we did get an update. Logan Butler has disconnected from the server. He has some sort of connection issue, so unfortunately the 99 machine, who's working so tremendously hard to get back on the lead lap, will find himself out. Maybe he can get rejoined, but not what the 99 was looking for tonight.
No, it was really sad because he had an interesting strategy where he came in quite early before the caution actually came out. So it was looking like it could have been interesting, and we could have seen something from him later on throughout the run. You never know, this race could have fallen in his favor. It's very unfortunate to see that happen, but unfortunately this is the world of online, as we know, and that kind of thing does happen from time to time. As the field gets stacked up behind the pace car. And it'll be really interesting to see if track position is as much of a factor as we think it might play out to be, because as we know, there's not that much banking throughout this course, so there does not seem to be that many lines that these drivers can run. As the green flag gets called out, here we go once again. Nick Leo on the outside, Jared Reed taking a storming lead from the inside. Stephen Gibson coming in third place, just passed by Jack Lenovsky as they head past the very tight left-hander just down the back straight now into the long sweeping third and fourth corner of the track.
Nick Reed with a very, very good start there. Well, was able to get a very good launch over the field. And that's the track position at the moment. But as you can see, Nick Leo is right on the bumper of the number 5. He's definitely looking to make a move down the inside of turn 1, maybe it is. He has a look. He just can't quite make it. Reed with good defense there. Just make sure he's cutting him off. Not giving him that inside line. Exactly what he needs to do now is he has a little bit of a wobble coming out of turn 2 there. That's not what we want to see. The drivers want to keep it as clean as possible, making sure they're not overheating their tyre. Sorry, not putting any stress on that right front tyre more than they need to. It looks like Leo goes high onto the high line.
Yeah,
Not quite sure.
Leo
Go ahead, Gareth.
Leo got a, sorry to step on you guys, but Leo got a bit close to Reed there, and just under braking was just a bit better under brakes than Reed was, so he had to really check up the field, check up the track so that he didn't get into the back of that number 5 car.
Now, something we haven't really talked about tonight is how much an advantage it is for Jared Reed to be out front with that clean air, and how much tougher it may be for Nick Leo. That dirty air off the back number 5 machine can really affect how tight Nick Leo 69 Chevrolet is going to run here, and that may allow Reed to save a little bit more tires than his counterpart behind him. Now, we know Leo has the pace. He's up 9 spots from where he qualified, and he seemed to be having good long-run speed over those opening 30 laps, but right now it's the Reed show. He's setting the pace. He's deciding when people are going to go fast, and as we've got somebody off track, it looks like it's going to be Butch Taylor in the 33 machine having a bit of a moment towards the tail end, as you see a whole lot of damage to that Toyota Camry, and that will bring out the cautions. Now Carter Lentz has a moment, and Garrett Hall.
Oh, that's not where you want to be, parked sideways in the middle of turn 4. That's looking very dicey, but thankfully the field gets past, no problems, buts or woes. As we have a look at the wreckage rewind.
So it looks like we're focused on Garrett Hall. He's going to get loose all by his lonesome, flat tracking it through the corner. Does he get a little bit of help from behind, or does he carry on the spin? Looks like it's going to be a solo incident. He realizes too little too late, locks up the brakes, but man, what a hard impact to the front of that number 13 machine as you see the field dive down the apron to avoid that incident.
Yeah, there looked to be another incident just behind there with 2 drivers potentially collecting each other. It didn't look good, that's for sure. But hopefully everyone can get their fast repair done if they haven't already, and rack it back up.
Yeah, it looks like Butch Taylor was definitely saved by that caution, because his original incident wouldn't have brought out the yellow. Or did it? No, it did bring out the yellow, didn't it?
No, it was Garrett Hall's
Or was
incident,
it
I think,
just
brought
Garrett
out
Hall?
the incident, despite Butch Taylor and I believe Carter Lenz having the off-track excursion. I think it was Hall who was resting squarely in the racing line that really brought out that caution there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it was Hall. However, yeah, if the caution wouldn't have come out when Butch crashed, that definitely would have been an issue for him. Because he was, yeah, he was going. He wasn't blocking the track.
I'm seeing Leaf Smith in pit lane now, so hopefully they didn't get too much damage. That car's been in there for quite a while now. But it doesn't look like there's any real damage on that. Oh, there might be a small scuff around the front right there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
there's
think
a
he
bit.
may have taken his fast repair now, so he may have been able to fix any damage there was on his car. He's back out and he's back on the lead lap. So good for him.
Still 11 drivers on the lead lap as we wave the caution flag for the second time today. We're right at the halfway mark. It's going to be Reed, Leo, Vanoski, Mathis, and Gibson, your top five, as Butch Taylor, he comes down pit road after the field's already gotten formed up double file. So try and take some last-second repairs, stay on the lead lap. As again, these drivers only have that one get-out-of-jail-free card, that one fast repair, and still a long way to go to try and avoid any damage to bring it home here at the end.
Yeah, obviously, once they've used their fast repair, they have no more get out of jail free cards, we'll call it what you called it. Yeah, so once they've used that fast repair, they've got to be really careful with the car, making sure their nose is clean, because if they have any more incidents, they have no longer can fix it at the flick of a switch, and they have to wait till those repairs to be finished, whether that be 10 minutes, even 20 minutes if the crash is hard enough. That's really not what these drivers want, so once they've used it, they need to be really careful they don't get involved in anything else.
I can tell you from my own experience, when you sit in the pit lane for anything longer than 2 minutes, it feels like an eternity watching the field go around past you while you're sitting there, just thinking about your life choices. As we watch the field stack up behind the pace car once again, I believe they're going to have one lap more under pacing conditions. Quite the big incident back there, it did look like, so hopefully they should be all able to catch back up to the lead. As we saw, Garrett Hall is down pit lane still, or again, getting repairs done to his car, I assume.
If we just have a look, looks like he's on the exit of pit road now. I think he's still on the lead lap, so he may have lost a couple of positions, but he is still on the lead lap crucially, so he'll be able to catch up to the back of the field. However, it looks like we'll be going green this time, so the lights have gone off on the top of that pace car and the drivers are in formation. We'll be able to see if they keep it green for the rest of the race. However, we do say cautions do breed cautions. On that 41, we've had 2 cautions so far in this race. It went almost 20 laps with the green flag, so hopefully these drivers can replicate that, especially some of the drivers without their fast repairs. They're definitely going to have to be worried, or definitely have to be more careful than they were before. So maybe, just maybe, we'll see some more green flag running.
Yeah, we certainly hope so, as we see Reed and Leo taking up the first 2 spots, back to Vanoski and Mathis in 3rd and 4th, Gibson and Linz in the 3rd row, and the pace car has just pulled off, just about to get going into green, and green flag, there it is. Jared Reed with a very slow start, but equally also Nick Leo as they head down into turn 1, that very tight left-hand hairpin almost. As they make their way, Jared Reed still able to make a nice way out front, and all getting very, very dicey in the 3rd spot there. That was between Mathis and Vanoski, getting very, very close together. Thankfully, both drivers able to hold it. Vanoski losing a lot of time there. Mathis also losing 1 spot, or 2 spots now, as, oh my god, another car goes onto the grass.
Right, Mark Cassano. Yeah, Mark Cassano is onto the green there. He's standing still. Not sure what happened with him. He's had a bit of an incident. So it looks like we have the yellow flag once again. 3rd caution of the night. Went 2 laps. And the green flags, unfortunately, my hopes were not met. And we got the yellow flag once again here at Gateway. Our 3rd caution of the night, as I said, on that 43 of 80.
Cautions breed cautions, Finley.
Cautions breed cautions, indeed they do. Obviously, with all of these cautions, drivers are going to start thinking, because obviously during the cautions you can save a lot of fuel, but maybe this would be the opportunity to take an alternate strategy. Maybe they see another route some of the other drivers haven't seen with their tyres and fuel. They'll make it to the end and maybe keep the fresher tyres for longer, having that pace advantage over their competitors. We'll have to see if some of the drivers do choose to take the plunge and go for that alternate pit strategy. It looks like we have two drivers going down pit lane. That'll be Mathis Jr. and Wayne Grennan, as well as Butch Taylor coming in behind in that number 33 Toyota Camry. Looks like these drivers are going to take in the plunge, taking that alternate strategy. They don't seem to have any damage. They weren't involved in the incident that brought out the yellow flag. They're definitely taking that alternate strategy. Maybe just for fuel, maybe they're taking tyres. We'll have to wait and see now as they go into that pit stop strategy, or go into their pit stalls.
I have a strong suspicion that they're going to take tyres. They'll want all the grip they can handle throughout the rest of this run. If we get another long green flag run, it's going to be very beneficial for them to grab the tyres now, as we see Mathis Jr. leading those three cars off of pit road, followed by Wayne Grennan and Butch Taylor, still probably getting some body work done on that car, because I can't imagine any other reason why he would be on pit lane for that length of time.
Yeah, I'd imagine maybe just trying to get as much repairs as he can do without going a lap down, because the more repairs you can do, the faster that car is going to be and the safer it is going to be to drive. Especially if you've got a little bit of suspension damage, for example. I'm not sure he had it in that instance, I'm sure he didn't. But that would just affect your, like, the more fixing you do of the car, the faster it's going to be, the safer it's going to be to drive. Because if you're sitting there with wonky suspension at the back, it's definitely not going to help you.
Yeah, most drivers coming down, getting their pits done within 14-15 second mark. But Butch Taylor sitting in there for 44 seconds, so certainly had some repairs that he needed to get welded back together or duct taped back together. As he'll make his way around, stay on the lead lap though, keep in front of the pace car, and either come back or come back down for continuous repairs to his car once more.
Obviously, we saw the number 69 of Nick Leo pushing very, very early, making up loads of spots, up 9 spots once again from where he qualified. Obviously, all of these cautions is helping him save those tyres and stretch them even longer, because the more time we're under caution, the longer those tyres are going to last, which means he's going to be able to push for longer, and he's definitely going to be a formidable force for our current leader, Jared Reed. He'll definitely be looking in his rearview mirror, seeing that alley number 69, or not the alley number 69, apologies, the dual number 69 Chevrolet, and he'll definitely be having a little bit of jitters, I think. He's definitely not a man you'd want to see in your rearview mirror for sure.
No, absolutely not. He's been absolutely romping through the field lately. He and Reed have certainly made it their show tonight, which is an interesting mix. It's going to be Ford versus Chevrolet. Very good manufacturer battle up the front here, as we make one more lap around under high pacing conditions. And hopefully we can get them back up. We did see Butch Taylor come down to pit lane once again, very briefly. That was around the 14-15 second mark that we usually see when drivers filling up fuel and getting some tyres on the car. So potentially he's just got himself some brand new tyres, and he might be able to make something happen on those.
Yeah, maybe he's got those fresh new tyres to make his way back up the field and get back those positions he's lost from pitting those 2 times. He is going to be back of the field, but obviously with those fresh tyres, as I just said, he'll be able to make his way up pretty quickly, I would assume. However, they're going to jump back on board with our leaders here, going into turn 3, getting ready for this next restart. I'm not going to jinx it this time. I'm not going to say we're going to go green for more than 2 laps, but let's just hope we do.
We certainly hope so. We'd like to see some more interesting racing going on. There's been great action all across the field tonight as the pace car goes in. Small grid, but we're getting it done, getting it going. Very exciting. And we're just about to head to the green flag, and the green flag is out, and Reed once again gets a fairly decent launch over Nick Leo, followed by Stefan Gibson and Vernosky and Linz in 5th place. Leo already looking to the outside as Gibson getting very, very close Gibson getting very close to Leo's left rear quarter panel, which would have definitely spun him around if he would have made too much contact with that. So definitely an interesting one to watch out for. Vanovsky also looking like he got very close to Gibson. Gibson going very high. I wonder if he wasn't too comfortable or just a little bit complacent after the problems he had with Leo further up. He just wants to take it easy, get his mind back, calm down, and get himself back under racing conditions as he works his way around the circuit following the leaders.
Yeah, especially with these so many cautions, their tyre temperatures are going to be dropping through the roof. They're going to start from square one again. It looks like, ooh, Jake Vanovsky getting a little bit loose there in the mid corner around about turn 3 and 4 there. Giving up a little bit of a run there to, I think that's Stefan Gibson now down the inside in the number 53 Chevrolet. He's going to make the move down the inside of Vanovsky. Vanovsky does have the outside line, so he will have to run back down the straight as he does. Or not, actually. Looks like Stephen Gibson is able to get that number 3 spot from Jake Vanovsky back once again. Jake Vanovsky is now at risk from the 3-car battle right behind. We go on board. Well, not on board. Oh!
Whoa! What happened
Carter
there?
Linz just snaps to the right, and that's the 4th caution of the night. We're definitely going to have a replay of that. That was very interesting to have a look on the Wreckage Rewind here today.
Yeah, as we just watched that number 4 Guinness-backed car going round the corner. He's still looking good, Nick. Oh, he just loses the back end, tries to correct it, and the car just wouldn't have it. Just completely plowed into the outside fence. Oh, that's very rough.
The question is, though, has Carl Linz already used his fast repair? If he has, that's definitely going to be, yeah, not the most ideal of scenarios. He's going to be sitting there for quite a while, I think, repairing that for a bumper. I don't think the car will be very happy with the state that it's in at the moment.
No, it's certainly not. It definitely does look interesting, but he's been able to make it back around the circuit once again. So he's bringing it down pit road now, I think, and he's going to get it all sorted out and repaired. As we've got another couple drivers, that's Leaf Smith and I believe Butch Taylor as well.
No, it's Mark
Mark
Cassano. Actually,
Cassano.
I believe it's Mark Cassano.
Mark
Lee Smith
Cassano.
followed by Mark Cassano and Carter Linz, of course, making those repairs. Looks like Lee Smith and Mark Cassano taking the plunge once again, taking that extra strategy call to maybe try that alternate strategy to keep those fresher tyres for longer. Because obviously we are under caution. Those drivers are going to lose a couple spots. But how short that field is, I think taking new tyres is a bit of a no-brainer at this point. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. These tyres are not lasting very well at all throughout the long run, so the more tyres, the better. As they say, 8 wheels turn better than 4. So, yeah, certainly good to keep keep those tyres under you and keep them as fresh as possible, producing as much grip as you can have. Leo and Reed obviously not wanting to give up the track position, but that potentially will come back to bite them, depending on how long the next green flag run is. If we can run this all the way out to green, Finley, then they might be in some trouble from the back markers.
I wouldn't give the commentators curse on that one. Of course, we hope that we will do that. It looks like Robert Mathis Jr. and Garrett Hall both choosing also to take the plunge. Looks like the majority of our drivers now taking that strategy call to go onto those fresh tyres. Because they know 8 wheels turn better than 4. They're going to go in for a fresh set of tyres, I believe.
Yeah,
However, though, up front it has not changed. Jarrett Reed and Nick Leo are first 2, followed by Stephen Gibson and Jake Vanovsky. Wayne Grennan rounding out the top 5.
It certainly is interesting. They could have come down the lap prior, but they obviously decided against it because they weren't too sure about if they were going to be the only ones. And then they saw Cassano and Smith come down, and they decided that they might jump on that bandwagon as well.
Yeah. Definitely, though, as we can see, those drivers up front, those top 5, haven't taken the plunge yet. Those top 5. I think, apart from Grennan, actually, I think Grennan is the only driver in that top 5 to take the plunge for those new tyres. So I'm definitely thinking these guys up front are thinking of, maybe not thinking of the long game. Or maybe they have another strategy in their heads they're going to be doing. Maybe put into the next caution. Because they're probably thinking the amount of cautions that we've had, 4 cautions now in the past 25 to 30 laps or so. So these drivers are definitely thinking maybe there's more, maybe I'll pit on the next one. They just want to stretch those tyres as long as possible because they know if we pit into the next caution, they're going to have fresh tyres for longer.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting strategy game because obviously you have to predict where you think the caution will come, and you hope not to be with a caution when it comes out. So definitely an interesting strategy game playing out so far. I didn't expect to see this tonight, but it certainly does look interesting.
Yeah, certainly interesting because we have the alternate strategies. Drivers taking, as I said before, very interesting alternate strategies. I'd like to see how it plays out with the different drivers. Maybe pitting at this point wasn't the right decision. Maybe the drivers at the front are thinking right, and it was the correct decision to stay out as long as they can. We'll have to see how that plays out later on in the race because we are only on lap 53 of 80 here. We've still got a lot of the race to go. Still just under half the race to go. So, yeah, everything could happen. It could all change in a blink of a switch.
Yeah, we've
For
still
these
got
drivers.
27 laps to go, so it certainly looks like it's shaping up to be. If we get a long green flag run, the tyres should last underneath all of the cars at this point. I think even the leaders now. But we'll have to see as we go just how bad the fall off really is, as the pace car has gone into the pit lane, and we've gone green once again. Jared Reed gets a huge jump this time. Very nice start. Nick Leo, Stephen Gibson, Jake Vanovsky, and Wayne Grennan all making the top 5, making a good jump through the start there, as Gibson looks like he's fighting very hard with Vanovsky. Vanovsky looking very, very racy at the start of this. It's just a bit too much, and then he goes into the wall. Oh, he's just lost it. Oh, he gets it off the wall. Hopefully no caution will come out. It does not look like it will, as the field just continues to go past. That's very unfortunate there. He's just lost the rear end a little bit. It's those used tyres. Just not happy with the speed at which these cars come back after being under caution for so long. As Leo trying to get around Jared Reed for the lead of this race. It's looking very interesting. He's got the bottom line. I believe that's the preferred line around here. As Reed looks like he's just able to keep it going on the high line. Obviously the high line producing a little bit more speed throughout the exit of the corner. So, yeah, unfortunately, Leo not quite able to make it happen, but maybe he might have backed off a little bit, it almost looks like. With the small gap that's appeared between them, he almost makes you think that he's thought about just how much the tyres are going to be pulled off, as we've got a backmarker, Leaf Smith. What happened to him?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. It says on our SDK that he did indeed crash. He's been involved in an incident. Not sure if he spun just a little bit, overheated those tyres just a little bit too much. Maybe just fell victim to how cold those tyres were because of all the cautions that we've had. Either way, he's all the way back. He did not get the caution. Crucially, he was not blocking the track for long enough for iRacing to decide a caution to fly. So he's going to be quite a long way back to some of the drivers ahead. That's definitely not what he would have wanted, as he's now 21 seconds to the leaders. So though, battle still starting to brew for our top 2 drivers. Getting very, very close on pace. Obviously, Nick Leo trying to make that move at the beginning of the restart. For Reed being able to stretch that gap just a little bit more now. Drivers maybe thinking about tyre wear once again. Just try and think of the long game once again. Try not to burn up those tyres. Try not to put too much stress on that front right tyre. Try and make them as long as possible, because they know some of the drivers behind with those fresh tyres may become a threat later on this race if they burn them up too early.
Yeah, I almost wonder with the rubber, you can see the really dark, deep grooves there. Oh wow, we have another incident with the number 7. That's Jake Vanovsky. Something has happened to the front of his car. It does not look good.
No, that does definitely not look good. Once again, it's very, very unlucky. The caution does not fly for him. As you can see there, Leaf Smith getting past him. As Jake Vanovsky makes a plunge down to pit road. As he has a little bit of a moment on pit entry as well, spinning onto the track with cars coming. You can hear all the cars coming. He's He's
Yeah.
reversing back off the racing line as the fifth caution flies.
Yeah, unfortunately he wasn't able to chuck that thing in reverse. Seems like might be having some small gearbox issues, so he wasn't able to throw it into reverse quite quick enough. And as the leaders came round, the car was still just slightly on the track. So Marshall's decided to bring out the caution. I almost wonder if he intended for that to happen. You almost wonder, don't you, with the way that he
Almost,
sat there for a little bit there.
yeah, almost a bit too good to be true, but we won't speculate. Fortunate for him, of course, because now he gets that opportunity, if he hasn't used that fast repair already, to go into the pits, use that fast repair, and get right up and racing again without much consequences. It looks like our leaders are going down into pit road. They've chosen now is the time they're going to choose to pit with 21 laps to go left of this race here at Gateway International Speedway. Team most of our drivers now, 6 drivers, I think, 7, 8 drivers now taking the plunge to go into pit lane.
Yeah, it looks like Mark Cassano is going to be the only driver that stays out there, trying to do something different. Just if they do bring another caution, he's probably going to come down, and then he's hoping that that will give him the fresh rubber he needs to make something happen towards the end of this race. But all these leaders coming down, this is going to be a very chock-a-block pit road here.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the drivers, I presume, will be taking their tyres as well. Peculiarly, though, Jake Vanoski has chosen to stay out and not go down into pit road. I'm not quite sure if that was a decision to maybe try and stay on the lead lap, but he is going to have to pit. I wouldn't imagine he would try to do the restart without that front bumper that's going to be slowing him down so much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure he would dive into pit road, but
I can't imagine you'd I I mean, look, if he can make it work without a front bumper, that's kudos to him. That'd be an amazing feat. I don't know how he could manage to do that, but it does look like he's bringing it down pit road now as we expected. As he turns down into pit lane. Interesting, the number 4 of Carter Lins did not follow him down because he also still has front bumper damage, although I think he is multiple laps down. So unfortunate day for him. This one's turning out as we saw him with that earlier incident where he did a massive snap oversteer and unfortunately collected the wall front on collision there. But Mark Cassano, very interesting. What do you think of that strategy, Finley? Do you think that'll hopefully pay off if we get another caution, or do you think he's unfortunately left himself a bit too? He's got a bit too ahead of himself there.
if I'm not mistaken, he did come down into pit road the caution before, which means those tyres are still relatively fresh on that 44 machine. So I definitely think he's on equal tyres. However, it may not be as fast as some of our leaders. So definitely maybe he's using the tyre advantage to maybe stay ahead. And again, we do have 19 laps to go. And if we have caution after caution, maybe those drivers at the back that have just chosen to go into pit road won't have the opportunity to make their way up the grid like we had under green for the first 19 laps, where we saw Nick Lear make his way all the way up 9 spots.
Yeah, just had a look at the board here. Carter Lins was on pit road for about 7 minutes, so clearly he was getting as many repairs as he deemed fit done to that car. So it's good to see him back out on track, though. We like to see all the cars come back out on track, whether they're racing for position or racing to just say hi to the cameras for us. It's always nice to see. And as we've got Leo and Reed have fallen down the pack. Obviously, something's gone. Leo had quite a long pit stop, almost 17 seconds. So I'm, as opposed to the usual leaders, about 14-15 range. So
Yeah.
I wonder if he had a little bit of a scrape and is just fixing a couple dents he had on the front of that car, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, I think I do remember him earlier on in the stint going up into the wall. Maybe a couple of scrapes, not too much, but any repairs you can get done on that car, because we have such a little field, it won't take long to make your way back up. So it's definitely worth doing those repairs to make sure the tyre wear is nice and even, and that you're not got any aero damage slowing you down on those straights.
Yeah, the straights here are actually quite a lot longer than than you would usually see on these 1.5 mile tracks because of the interesting way that this course is shaped. with quite a long corner, almost like a awkward triangle as well as an oval. It's a very awkward sort of one very long
Yeah,
sweeping corner and one very tight hairpin corner. As we head
definitely a
back,
peculiar one. However, we have the green flag flying now. The number 44 controlling that restart, getting a good launch, followed by the number 13 of Garrett Hall on that inside line. However, it looks like Mathis Jr. on that outside line is making it work, getting the exit he needs. Looks like he's managed to take the lead from Marcusano there. Marcusano having to slap behind, as now he's under threat from Garrett Hall behind him. Garrett Hall is maybe making to look a move. That made no sense. It looks like Cassano is getting a little bit loose onto the infield.
oh,
Loose
will the
once
Cassano
again.
hold it? All the drivers
Fishtailing,
doing
he
an
does manage to hold it.
all the drivers doing an amazing job to miss that car, swinging wildly around the track, doing a fantastic job there.
It looks like Jarrett Reed and Jake Vanovsky have both decided to go down pit road.
That is very interesting. That's very odd. I wasn't expecting that at all. Do we think they got in a bit of a tussle, or do you reckon that Reed especially was leading this race for a very long time, so that's very odd to see him come down pit road so early.
Yeah, very odd. I'm not sure if they were forced down because of the incident that happened earlier. Maybe they thought it was going to be a caution or something, an incident they need to avoid. They were forced to go down pit road because I don't think it was a smart strategy choice now because we can hear the drivers coming round. They're about to be a lap down.
I almost think he and but oh, there we got a big wreck at the back. Hopefully that doesn't bring out any cautions. No, he goes, oh, he's hit the inside wall. That's Garrett Hall. Oh, and there's the caution again. Sixth one of the night.
Sixth caution of the night here at Mobile Technology Raceway as the number 13 of Garrett Hall there having a little bit of an incident, losing his front bumper very unfortunately. I'm not sure if he still has his flash repair or he's used it before. I can't quite remember. However, looks like that front bumper of that number 13 is definitely a little bit banged up.
Well, it lets you admire the underneath of the car. Look at the beautiful radiator grille and
Beautiful views.
yes. Ah, we like to
Love
see
to see
what's
it.
under the car sometimes. You like to see what makes them tick. As we look
Yeah.
back up front, Leo once again, geez, he keeps on making his way through the field no matter where you put him. Just dips and weaves and he just shows his face around. I'm very surprised Mathis made that move to the outside at the start of at the last restart on the fifth caution. That was quite an interesting one because usually we've seen the inside line really take off, and it's been mainly a one lane track tonight, but it was very, very good power move, I'd say, from that car there, and the number 29.
Yeah, you can see. Who's that? That is, I believe, Jake Vanovsky there getting the lucky dog. He's making his way around in that number 7 alley themed. I want to say Toyota. I had to stop myself saying it multiple times.
That would
The
be
alley
a
themed Chevrolet. It's a
Camaro.
Chevrolet.
Yes.
Chevrolet Camaro, yes.
Yeah, paying
Moving
tribute
on from
there.
that, he's on his way round. Yeah,
Hey.
he's on his way round. To catch back up to the field, getting that lucky dog. It looks like Garrett Hall has chosen to go in. So no, he was the one who had no front ends. That'll be why he's going to the bits to get his repairs.
Yeah, Vanovsky with that alley themed car seemed to be paying tribute to um, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Looking like a very, very nice paint scheme there. Very nice to pay tribute to the legend of the sport. As we are in under single file conditions, it almost looks like. No, the drivers are just getting a feel for it. My bad.
Yeah, as it looks like, yeah, the lights have gone off. Oh no, the lights are still on the roof of that pace car. Meaning we've still got one more lap at least before we start forming up into formation. I think it may be 2 to green now. So Jay Fanosky is caught up to the back of the field. And we're back under iRacing conditions, of course.
Yeah, it looks like Vanovsky is still a lap down though. I didn't expect that. I thought he would get the lap back because he and Reed came in together. And yeah, very interesting. Well, Reed probably got the no, because Vernoski got the lucky dog. So that's sometimes I can't keep track of all the craziness that happens in these NASCAR races, but it
Yeah.
certainly
Somehow both of them made their way back up onto the lead lap. It looks like, although Jake Vanoski is still a lap down to everyone,
yeah,
according to our live timing.
that's what I find quite interesting. But oh well, you never
Yeah,
know.
actually, no, that makes sense because the incident that happened before, he did put himself a lap down when he had to fix his front bumper. So it would make sense that you're still one lap down.
Oh,
And
that's
Jared Reed has been able to make his way back up. He got his lap back, which means he's back on the lead lap. Jake Vanoski, unfortunately, not.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Jared Reed can do now that he's not in clean air anymore. With only by the time we get round to green about 10 laps to go, because he's been out front leading pretty much the entire race so far, and hasn't really had to deal with dirty air from traffic around him. So it'll be interesting to see if he can hang on to that car and make his moves back up to the front and challenge Mathis and Leo once again for the lead
Yeah,
as they continue
just
behind the pace car.
as you can see, our drivers getting into formation now, choosing their lane for the 6th restart of the day. Here at
Worldwide Technology.
That's the one. Here at Bullbike Technology Raceway. It's getting very tired, and I've lost my capability to shout, as it is 2:05 in the morning here in the UK. However, devoting my life to commentary, exactly what I'd like to see.
Well, we love having you up here in the booth with us, Finley.
Yeah.
Myself, I've very greatly appreciated as Mathis gets a huge jump on this restart. 10 laps to go. Here we go. Massive, massive leap forward. Leo was not expecting him to jump that far ahead as we got Leo, Grennan, Taylor and Reed and Gibson all in the mix, as well as Smith not too far behind. Geez, this is a really good battle with only 10 laps to go. The three cars under a blanket. Gibson, Taylor, Reed as
Like
well.
Reed's going to go down the inside of the number 33 of Butch Taylor. As they have an instant there, Butch Taylor gets sent out into the wall on the outside. And there's a 7 caution of the night.
No. No, not again.
The cycle repeats itself. We have the 7 caution of the night here at Technology Raceway. I've said it once again.
Cautions breed cautions, as we heard James say little ways ago. That was really great driving from Reed to keep the car under him as it started to step out there, but unfortunately cars around him not quite so lucky. Very many of them seem to be hitting the wall in the exact same spot. Something about that very tight hairpin flat corner really doesn't seem to sit well with these drivers.
No, definitely not. This track is definitely posing a few challenges, being so different to other tracks on the calendar. It's definitely a unique one for sure. Throws up the new challenges, while obviously being very, very understeery on those colder tyres. Obviously, there's drivers having so many cautions, having to reheat their tyres from scratch every single time it goes green. And some of these drivers just not able to hold on to it. Those cold tyres maybe getting the best of them, getting a little bit snappy. But it looks like as we go further on in the stint, as tyres, well, the cars do tend to get a little bit tighter, as it looks like Jake Vanoski is getting the lucky dog, and finally he's back on the lead lap. So good for him in that number 7 alley-themed Chevrolet.
I'm sure he was one of the few drivers, if not the only driver, that was very happy to see that caution come out. Now he's on the lead lap and he can make some moves and see what can happen as he makes his way back up to the field. We've got...
We have Robert Mathis Jr. though. Obviously didn't see much of him through the whole lot of the race. He did qualify on pole position, and he did start the race to begin with. However, he's on his way back now, where he qualified in that P1 position, the number 29 Ford machine. He's done a really good job so far to get it all the way back up from being quite far down to begin with, or was chucked down the order rather fast.
Yeah, he, for memory, he had to check up quite badly to avoid an incident earlier on this race and has been unfortunately stuck behind Dirty Air in the pack with a lot of drivers throughout this race, but he has managed to make his way back up to the pack, whether it be through just driving consistently or through tyre strategy, I believe is the main culprit. But I will say that this should definitely be an interesting race. We've got some fast drivers still back in the pack, some leaders like Reed and Vanovsky finally back onto the lead lap. So it'll be very interesting to see if we can have some more drivers make their way through, and hopefully some less accidents, as we are only going to have 5 or 6 laps to go by the time this one winds down, or ramps up, I should say, as I'm sure the excitement will start to steam out of my eardrums as I go crazy, looking forward to the race coming to a close, and I'm sure with a spectacular finish as we get ready for it.
Yeah, definitely, because we're so late in this race now. Drivers will be getting a little bit less patient trying to get that move finished because we have so little left of the race. The drivers will definitely be thinking they want to get those positions now. That usually means more cautions. Maybe we'll see a green white checkered later on in this race. We'll have to wait and see. However, yeah, it looks like some of the drivers aren't quite happy with the track. Yeah, some of the drivers not 100%, I suppose, comfortable with the track. Definitely not one of the favourites on the schedule. However, we only have 6 more laps of it to go. It'll be 5 laps once we get the green flag. Definitely some late action, I think, will happen. We'll definitely see some interesting stuff. So we have quite a lot of the fast drivers like Reed and Vanovsky so far down. Hopefully they'll make their way back up and we'll see some good battles and overtakes.
Yeah, I certainly look forward to it. It should be really good. Should be a really good race to the finish here. As we keep the camera, we want to keep it focused on those leaders. What do you think, Finley? Do you reckon the high side or the low side will be the ideal entry into the first corner here?
I definitely need the low line because that's where you're vulnerable. People can dive down the inside because you haven't got the run, you haven't got the speed carrying in. The high line just isn't powerful enough. So it looks like we're going to go green very soon. It looks like Mathis Jr is going to get a good start to begin with. Cutting across, making sure Nick Leo doesn't get that outside line. He knows Nick Leo is such a threat. He knows he needs to block him off and make sure he doesn't make that move into turn 1. Looks like, though, he left the inside line just a little bit open. Nick Leo having a little bit of a look down the inside. Couldn't make it work that time round. However, he is right on the bumper once again. As it looks like Jared Reed making his way back up. He's now down the inside of Stephen Gibson. Up a couple spots from where it was just the beginning of that restart. Making his way up very, very quickly as it looks like Mark Cassano once again getting very loose on the infield on the grass. He smashes into Jake Cassano. Oh no, doesn't smash into Jake Cassano. My bad. Jake Vanovsky.
That was Vanovsky,
Causing
yeah.
the caution of the night. Wow.
That's not what you want to see. Not again. Not now. So close. So unfortunate to see the drivers. Cassano's been really struggling with that car for quite a while now, and unfortunately, Vanovsky just seems to be caught up in it once again. There's a lot of smoke billowing out the back of that car.
I mean, all of that means he has already used his fast repair in this race, and we can see coming out the back of that number 7 car. I think he may be hanging up the towel now. Those repairs are going to take a lot longer than we have left of this race. So unfortunately for him, that will be his race over, I think.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look promising. Even the back end of that car is caved in something fierce. So, yeah, very unfortunate to see these drivers, getting involved in these incidents. We really don't like to see it, but it does happen from time to time. And unfortunately, I almost wonder if tyre wear once again. I know we talk about it basically throughout the entire race so far, but I do wonder if that's had a big impact on a lot of these drivers struggling to keep the car under them, because it does seem that this track does seem to promote quite a bit of oversteer with the way that the two corners are shaped, especially that hairpin corner, the dreaded one. And yeah, those tires have been wearing very, very quickly tonight. So
Mm. Yeah. Not only have they been wearing quickly, those cold tyres at the beginning of the cautions, especially laid on top of the people pushing that a little bit more, just to make sure they don't lose those positions on the restarts. They're definitely going to these drivers, I think. Obviously, with so little laps to go, they want to make sure they can gain those places back they may have lost to begin with, or gain those spots. So,
yeah, it's a difficult one to call. Hopefully these drivers can keep it all under them for one more time. 8 cautions tonight. Uh, 12 drivers. Unfortunately, several we've lost along the way, but it's been a great journey all the same. And we've had several different lead changes and quite a lot of action tonight. So it's been really, really good to see.
yeah, we have still 8 drivers on the lead lap. That's 8 drivers in the fight. In these final laps here, looks like we may get a green-white check as we go 3 to go. Due to go cross 9, however, we still have the lights on top of that pace car, meaning that we'll probably have another lap under caution, but
I think the stewards are sorting it out, getting it green-white checkered, getting the green-white checkered ready and in format, because with 2 laps to go, I believe that's what they're getting ready to lay out, as we've got Mathis Jr, Leo, Grennan, Reed, Gibson, Smith and Taylor, your top 7, the only drivers that are on the lead lap still. But you never know who can win this one. It's been very interesting. You've had some drivers like Leo and Reed and even Mathis being up the front quite a bit this race, but with the race being what it has been tonight so far, you never know what can happen. It's certainly been an interesting and entertaining one for everyone at home, including myself up here in the booth. What about you, Finley?
yeah, we've definitely had a lot of fun commentating this. A lot of action, which we love to see as commentators. Great to watch as well. I'm sure you guys at home are enjoying this race as much as we are, as we're just on our way around for the green white checkered now. Coming down the backstretch, coming in to round out turn 3 and 4 for hopefully our final restart of the night. We have a head-to-head battle between Mathis Jr and Nick Leo for that P1 spot, as well as Jared Reed back in there in that number P4 spot on the outside line. He's definitely looking to get involved, hopefully, later on this restart. Hopefully he can make his way past Wayne Grennan in number 28 Chevrolet as pace car goes in. And the green flag flies. Rob Mathis Jr having that restart, however, Nick Leo being able to stick with him just a little bit on the outside line. As Rob Mathis Jr is covering off that outside line to make sure. And Nick Leo can't make his way around the outside, so it looks like Wayne Grennan goes a little bit deep into that corner. However, Jared Reed not being able to capitalize. It looks like Wayne Grennan spins into the infield. I'm not sure if that calls a caution. I think will still remain green flag as it is. It looks like, oh my god,
Oh, wow.
Nick Leo taking Mathis Jr for a little bit of a ride on the outside line, taking him out of contention. Jared Reed, our new leader, followed by Stephen Gibson and Nick Leo in that 3 position. However, coming onto the final lap as the white flag flies, Jared Reed has a good gap over Gibson. It looks like Leo's probably trying to make a move now, trying to get that P2 spot back from Stephen Gibson. However, they can't make it work that time. Coming out of turn 2, he's got the exit he needs. He's going to go down the inside into turn 3. Will he make the move stick? He's down the inside. He's gone deep to maybe cover him off. 53 has gone deep as well. Nick Leo, however, now coming down to cover that low line. A little bit of, I just love the spin behind.
Oh,
Who's that?
no.
Leaf Smith behind.
What a finish!
What a finish here. Jared Reed bringing home that number 1 spot, followed by Nick Leo up 9 spots from where it began. Coming home in that P2 position, the number 69 Chevrolet. Brilliant work from him, followed by Stephen Gibson in number 3 spot. Then Bush Taylor, Robin Mathis Jr. What a finish there. You'll see the fireworks going off in the background That was an absolutely brilliant race to watch. I'm sure we all enjoyed it. The drama to the end as well.
It was all about trying to keep your car clean towards the end there. Certainly some of these drivers getting towards the end of the day, they just wanted to get it done and finish as well as possible. So they were putting moves that they probably wouldn't see if the day was a little bit shorter. But yeah, certainly a great result for Jared Reed, Nick Leo, and Stefan Gibson, your top three for the night. Wow, what a race, Finley! What a race!
What a race indeed. Just going to have a look now at our race results here. So we have Jared Reed coming home in that number 1 spot, followed by Nick Leo coming home in that number 2 spot, up 9 position from where he started. Absolutely brilliant drive from him once again, followed by Stefan Gibson rounding out that podium spot in number 3. And Bush Taylor in number 4 spot, followed by Robert Mathis Jr. in the number 5, followed by Wayne Grenon, then Leaf Smith in the number 7 spot. Jake Vanosky in the number 8, our final driver. Or Leaf Smith, our final driver to finish on the lead lap, followed by Jake Vanovsky, Mark Casano, Carter Lins, Garrett Hall, rounded out by Logan Butler, who unfortunately had to leave us early. For an
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant watch. Absolutely brilliant race. Wow. I think we're going to think about getting our drivers up for interviews now.
yep.
See if we can get that sorted.
As we will try and pull up Stefan Gibson. Do we see him? Yep, he's in the waiting room. He'll get pulled up in a second here.
I think we'll take Nick.
Stefan Gibson, welcome to the room. You're with Gareth and Finley. How'd the race go from your point of view?
Oh man, I'm glad it's over. I'm wore out. That was quite a race. These new cars, they're touchy when you get them in a little too hard, and they're hard to save. But I slid up twice and managed to save it. But it was fun. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was an absolutely brilliant race to watch from that. Of course, near the end of the race as well, a lot of drama. It looks like a little bit of an incident between Nick Leo and Robert Mathis Jr. You were able to capitalise on that, coming home in that P3 spot. Would you like to take us through how the race went from start to finish from your perspective?
Well, at the start, I was just trying to save tires and keep the car under me, but did pretty well. And then we had that string of cautions, and they just kept going on. So it was just a matter of restart after restart, trying to either maintain position or at least not be involved in any of the incidents. But at the end of the race, yeah, that was exciting. I think Leo got into the 29 car a little bit, or vice versa. I'm not sure what happened. They went up the track, and I just put it on the bottom and tried to get around them. Ended up second after that. And then at the end, Nick was running me pretty good, and he and I had a good race. And anyway, I finished third, so hey, at
Yeah,
least I'm
you
on
were
the
so
podium.
you were so close that P2 spot, but absolutely brilliant job bringing it home in the P3. I think your final question, Gareth.
Yeah, Stefan, you were actually the driver I called out early on in this race to be up in the podium position in the winning circle, victory lane tonight. So good to see you still in the top three, and my pick certainly wasn't wasted. Do you have any sponsors, friends, family to shout out to us tonight?
Well, obviously RubbinsRacing.com. I mean, great group of guys. We've been running together for 20, 22 years. I mean, we've been together for quite a long time. Of course, our sponsor for the league, Butt Kicker. Also Better Hammer on Twitch, and Linden Steel Company, and of course I got to thank my family, my wife. We'll steal this one from Dominic. I mean, she's allowed me to buy all my toys, and I've enjoyed it. And y'all guys up in the booth, man, I'm sure y'all did a great job tonight.
Thanks, man. Really good to hear. Thanks, Stefan. You have a great night.
All right, appreciate it, bud. Catch you next week.
All right, that was Stefan Gibson in the third spot. We will bring up Nick Leo from the... Oh, there he is. Nick, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, it was certainly an interesting race. You found yourself way at the back at the start, and then made your way all the way to the front. Then you went back to the back and back to the front. It was just a whole mix of emotions watching you come through the field like that. You had a very, very, very good race. What did it look like from your perspective?
It was a good race, I guess. It got pretty wild there at the end, but my qualifying I wrecked both laps, so that's why I didn't set a time. So I wasn't going into it feeling too confident, but by the end of that long 30 or so lap run, I was right on Jared's back bumper, so I thought I had a shot at that point.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you very much. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting race. Up 9 spots from where you began. It was a very, very good race from you. Touching on at the end though, an incident with you and the 29. Would you like to take us through what happened there on the closing moments of this race?
I'd have to see it again, but I don't know. It seemed like I had a huge run going, so I tried to go inside, and then I don't know, he kind of blocked me there, and it was very weird. I kind of just like hooked onto him, and I don't know how he didn't go around. I've never seen that before, but. And then the lap after that, I think it was the SpaceX car. I locked him up really bad into the corner, just giving it my all, and almost took him out too. So it was not the finish I wanted, but hopefully the fans enjoyed it.
Yeah. All in all, you didn't lose any positions. You still net gained 9 positions from the start. So it was definitely an absolutely brilliant race, brilliant performance from you. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't complain after, like I said, I couldn't qualify and I wrecked, just kept wrecking, practice kept wrecking. I think I had a 0x going there until that last incident, but I was surprised with myself there. It was a pretty tough track to drive.
Yeah, you certainly kept the car on you under you very well though, as opposed to some of the other drivers we saw were struggling a lot more than you. Who would you like to give a shout out to? Friends, sponsors, family, for this second place spot?
And shout out to the usual. Shout out to Jewel. I had a lot of cautions tonight, so I was able to hit that quite a bit, and that kept me in it. Gives you something to do on those cautions. And shout out to Butt Kicker and everybody at the Rubbins Racing crew and all the viewers, of course.
All right, well, it's been great talking to you, man. Hopefully we can have you up in here in the booth next week as well.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
All right. And as we pull into the waiting room, Jared Reed, your winner of this race here today. Jared Reed, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, it was one hell of a race. You were leading most of it. You seem to be getting caught back in traffic towards the end there, but somehow made your way back up to the front once again and managed to miss all the calamity that happened behind you. How'd the race go from your end?
Yeah, it was going pretty good there at the beginning. We had that long green flag run that was fun. I got a little bit worried towards the end of it because Nick, he came from all the way in the back and was catching me there by the end. So every restart after that, I was just kind of trying to get away as fast as I could because I knew he was going to be fast if we got a long run. But then ended up getting a penalty for passing the pace car under yellow and caught back in the back. I didn't think I was going to have a chance after that, but there at the end, everybody in front of me started wrecking. It was like the seas parted and drove off to the win.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting moment. I think you just solved the next question I was actually going to ask you, but touching upon that pit stop, I think you just told me what it was. But what was going through your head as soon as you had to pit? Then what were you thinking?
Yeah, I tried giving it back, but for some reason I still got the penalty for passing the pace car, and it wouldn't tell me what the penalty was until I took the green flag, and I had to come back down pit road. So I was just at that point I was hoping I wouldn't lose a lap, and thankfully I didn't, and caution came out right at the right time to get me cycled back around to the end of the field.
Well, it was a great race all around for you though. Unfortunate that yeah, I don't know why you didn't find that out till after the caution. That's a bit weird from iRacing's part, but I guess you win some, you lose some, eh? But certainly winning tonight. Great job. Who would you like to shout out? Friends, sponsors, family?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody that's part of this league. You know, we were missing a lot of people tonight. I hope to see everybody back next week, but still had a good race. And of course, Butt Kicker for being the main sponsor and Better Hammer on Twitch.
All right. Well, good to hear from you. Good. Hopefully we can get you up for another win next week. That'd be great.
Yeah, guys, thanks for calling this race.
Thank
No
you very
worries.
much.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you later.
All right, see you.
That was your winner, Jared Reed, in the number 5 car. Finley, any comments before we end it off?
Before we ended off, that was probably one of the most drama-filled endings to a race I've ever seen. Jared just coming through, the seas parting for him. Definitely, I wouldn't say luck, but yeah, it was definitely the stars definitely aligned for him here tonight. It was definitely a very interesting race. Drama filled all the way through. Just caution after caution, incident after incident. Very, very interesting, and yeah, definitely threw quite a couple curveballs with the strategy as well. It was certainly interesting for my part.
All right. Well, that's what we like to hear. It was definitely an interesting one from my part as well. Great racing all around from these guys at the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series. And we will catch you all next time, same time, same place next week. I am Gareth McAllister, with me Finley Fitzsimmons, and we will see you again next time.